giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Good morning, good people. Welcome to A to Z Sports Live, presented by the Cochran Firm and Boston Scientific. We stream it live on YouTube and Facebook, and of course, I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! We're doing this today. Either it's going to be a really short show. It's going to be a very interesting show. We are going to explore the idea of moving on from Dak Prescott and what that looks like. This show was for you guys. Dak sucks. He's the reason everything gets better without Dak Prescott. All right. I used to work for a judge, and in that field, there's a saying, tough but fair. I want to be fair today. I want to be absolutely fair to that side of the screaming fans, right? Because you got the screaming fans of this and the screaming fans. Well, that side is screaming Dak Prescott sucks. Get rid of Dak Prescott. All your pain goes away. So I want to hear from that. I want to be fair, tough but fair. So I'm laying it out for you guys today. Call into the show. If you don't have the courage to call into the show, you can try to explain it through the chat, but that's a bit more difficult. But I'd rather you muster up the courage to call in and we can have an actual conversation about how the Cowboys get rid of Dak Prescott and remain, or I even say remain because people don't believe this Cowboys team is a Super Bowl contender with Dak Prescott, but elevate to a Super Bowl contender without Dak Prescott, right? Like get the solutions to becoming a Super Bowl favorite by getting rid of Dak Prescott right now. And this goes without saying. There are parameters that this comes with. Right? There are real life things. So we're not doing this in a Madden way. We are really going to try to talk this through because I also want to help you figure that aspect out as well. That's why I said I'm going to be tough but fair today. I'm actually going to try to assist if I can, because not everyone understands contracts. Not everyone understands the rest of the league. We're solely focused on the Dallas Cowboys, and most Cowboy fans are usually casual fans that get riled up in emotions, and it's get rid of this, get rid of that. This guy sucks, that guy sucks, and everything will be fine. I'm going to try to peel back the emotions of all that and get to the nitty-gritty of the real of the situation. So if there is something realistic and logical that can happen that elevates this team to a Super Bowl favorite by moving on from him right now, I'll try to help and do that. I try to help and do that because I feel like until we have this conversation, crazy things are just going to get thrown out with no context. And I don't know if this is being done anywhere else, right? In the sense of actually trying to get to a real life solution of moving on from Dak Prescott right now and becoming a better football team. By the end of it, I think you're going to realize something. I'm gonna keep this in the tuck. I'm gonna keep this in the tuck until the end of the show, and listening to people, and I think you'll realize, oh snap! If they're going to do this, then they should have did that. But we'll get to that, Cowboys Nation. This is going to be a very interesting show. But prior to all of that, there is some coaching news we want to get to in the roundup. So let's do that. Let's go to the roundup real quick. Talk about some of the coaches that will not be back because there's going to be a lot of changes on that staff. So let's get to it.
It's time! It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time.
It is time for.
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Hey, yo. A lot of change is going around down there at the Star Cowboys Nation. A number of assistants will not be retained on this coaching staff. And we talked about all the contracts that were running out yesterday. Now we're getting word that most of those guys will not be brought back. And this is from Todd Archer. Multiple sources say the Cowboys will not bring back senior defense assistant George Edwards, assistant defensive line coach Leon Lett, running backs coach Skip Pete, O-line coach Joe Philbin, and the one that hasn't been put up here, McCarthy's guy, Rob Davis, which we'll get to in a second. So let's run down that list real quick. George Edwards, assistant defensive assistant, who really kind of worked more with the linebackers this year, I think, than his first year here, had a big impact on Micah Parsons. Micah attached to George Edwards right away. You could hear him in his rookie on Hard Knocks talk about how George was kind of the father figure. DQ was like the big uncle. And this is what Mike had to say about George Edwards. Quote, "All I can say is thank you, not for taking a kid from Harrisburg, shout out to Harrisburg, but for raising me like I was one of your own. I wouldn't have made so many leaps without you. You will be missed. #love." Of all these ones, this one surprises me just a little bit here because George Edwards was here before Dan Quinn and then obviously stayed with Dan Quinn. So if Dan Quinn left, you could have still kept George Edwards and he could have potentially been a defensive coordinator candidate. However, my front runner was Joe Witt Jr., but he still could have stayed under Joe Witt. So George Edwards on the outs. Assistant D-line coach Leon Lett, a guy who's been around here forever, for like the last decade plus, a little over a decade. He just kept coming back. He mainly worked with the defensive tackles. He won't be back. That's a shock in the sense of he seems to be like a Jerry guy. Like Jerry will keep dudes around because they've been here, right? Won Super Bowls with the Cowboys in the early 90s. Leon Lett been around for a long time. But again, an assistant defensive line coach. Running backs coach Skip Pete will finish his second stint with the Cowboys. For those who remember, he was here with Coach Parcells in the early 2000s, and he came back and they finally got that two-back thing going with Zeke and Tony Pollard, but it felt like it was a little bit too late. A little too late is the saying, right? But Skip Pete's a respected guy. I had a chance to talk to Skip down at camp and a chance to talk to him after one preseason game. As just a regular schmegular guy, I appreciate him giving me the opportunity just to chat with him. Good dude. I'd imagine Zeke doesn't like this one here. I think Skip, I don't want to say meant a lot to Zeke, but meant enough to Ezekiel Elliott. And I don't know how it felt with Tony Pollard, but he came out with that infamous saying about Tony Pollard and the sword. I don't want to say infamous, but famous saying about being the sword and Zeke being a hammer and using those two guys. But Skip felt like he was good with the media and good with the players, but he will also not be retained. And Joe Philbin. Joe was interesting because it felt like Joe never really fully hit here in Dallas, right? Like whether it be with the players, whether it be with the fan base, coaches, whatever. He obviously was Mike McCarthy's guy from Green Bay in the years. He was OC there, offensive line coach there, all that stuff. And I said this the other day when we talked about Joe Philbin. Joe felt like a guy that just coached linemen. That's it. Just like coached. I know that sounds crazy, but he's an offensive line coach guy. Yes, but I think nowadays, man, and probably even before that, the offensive line coach kind of worked hand in hand with the running game, with the running scheme or what have you. And I don't think anybody would mistake Joe Philbin with having a running scheme. And a lot of people got on Joe about all of the offensive line movement from last year doing the whole in and out, snip, snap thing. And then this year moving guys around. But I will say this, since he's been an O-line coach, it ain't been easy. I mean, he's dealt with a ton of injuries in 2020. Nothing change from injury standpoint last year. And then this year, obviously, same thing. So it's been a weird ride for Joe Philbin. I felt like it's been up and down. I gave him credit in 2020. Thought things were weird in 2021. And I actually give him some credit this year for holding down a line that just kept facing adversity throughout the season. But I personally would like to see an O-line coach here that can mirror what he does with the actual scheme of the offense. So we'll see where they go there. And then Rob Davis, which may be the biggest kind of head scratcher. There's a thought process down there that Rob Davis is not a coach, first of all. He's listed as a coach, the assistant head coach. He's not a coach. He's a guy that keeps his eyes and ears on everything around the team in regards to the players and coaches. And he's a guy that's been riding with Mike McCarthy for a long, long time. But he's not technically a coach. But that's a guy that Mike trusted. And he's a guy that won't be back. So there will be a lot of coaching changes. And we didn't even talk about the big two, right? We don't know what's going to happen with Kellen Moore, what's going to happen with Dan Quinn. Because all of these assistants being let go right now may look odd. But if you don't have any of those guys returning, then who you hire as your DC and your OC, I think will affect who you hire underneath those guys as assistants. So, they may have a say in that. And maybe that's where they're leaning to. Maybe, with Jerry Jones not coming on and Stephen Jones, they obviously were trying to decide what to do with the assistants. And if they have an inkling that they won't have their coordinators back, then they kind of got to clean house from an assistant standpoint to allow those coordinators to dictate who they want. Hence, DQ comes in. He brings in a ton of his guys, right? A ton of the guys that, he believes can help elevate that defense. And Aiden Durde is still on staff. DQ is technically still on staff, but I got a feeling he'll get a head coach gig somewhere. I just do. So that's the Roundup Cowboys Nation. Any coaching surprises to you? I would say the biggest one there would be George Edwards. I felt like George Edwards, it doesn't matter who your DC is, George Edwards could have stuck around and been a big help to Micah Parsons. J-Ron Curse, right? He was coaching J-Ron in Minnesota. If there was one guy to keep on that list, that was the guy I would have liked to keep, was George Edwards. That was a guy. What y'all talking about in here? Kellen's not going nowhere. Clean the house. Biggest surprise is who was not listed. Interesting. The Kellen Moores of the world. I'm imagining talking about. Captain says, should Al Harris stay as DB coach? I would. I'd keep Al on. We're talking about a guy, and I don't think his contract is up, by the way. I could be wrong, but I don't think his contract is up. Talking about a guy who helped elevate. I know people right now, there's two guys people don't want to hear you say anything good about: Dak Prescott, Trayvon Diggs. And that's the thing about microwave society. Everything that happened prior to that does not matter for those guys. But Trayvon Diggs constantly talks about how important Al Harris was for him. But we got to go beyond Trayvon Diggs, right? Like, AB had his career year with Al Harris. We saw Deron Bland come in and be able to step in and help kind of alleviate the pressure over there. Israel McQuamble was able to step in at cornerback. Like, I think Al Harris has carried his weight here. So I would 100% try to keep Al Harris, no matter who the defensive coordinator is. No matter who he is. So Brandon from Frankly Football says he disagrees with George Edwards. I need a linebacker that can get the most out of the other guys like Cox and Clark, because Mike is going to be in regardless. What about Leighton Vander Esch this year? Leighton Vander Esch had a resurgence this season, right? Damone Clark was showing promise. Now, he's a rookie, and he was without LVE out there, without Anthony Barr out there, you're asking a rookie 5th-round pick who didn't really come on the season to the middle of the year to redirect, and he had rookie moments, right? So I would actually say I think he did. I think he showed that he can kind of get the Damone Clarks ready, and Damone Clark showed you promise early. LVE had a career resurgence. Michael Parsons, you heard Micah. I mean, you could say Micah is going to be him, but Micah said it himself. He said, quote, "I wouldn't have made so many leaps without you." That's from your guy, right? So I can't just be like Micah lying. Micah said I made leaps because of this guy. So if Micah's endorsing him, I think I would endorse him as well. But I would love that, father of five. Sean Lee, linebackers coach. Oh, yeah. I would love that. Love that. All right. Here we go. Listen, the phone lines are open. Like I said, this is either going to be a very short show or a very interesting show. This is for those, because I felt like y'all don't have a voice. I feel like you don't have a voice. And some people say they don't need one. No, everybody's allowed to have a voice, an opinion, whether I agree or disagree, whatever. And this is your time right now to voice your opinion logically. This is what we're not going to do. We're not going to be like trolls on social media and just come in here and just act crazy. We want to figure out how we can move on from Dak Prescott and get better right now. We're not talking about, unless you come in, by the way, you can also say, hey, I just want to get rid of him. I don't like him. I don't think he's a guy. And I'd rather, go through a period of 5 years or so of being average to below average as a team or bad and hoping for the best, as opposed to going all in with that guy. So this is for you. All right. Let's hit these phone lines because we got some already up in here. The phone lines, Pulse of the Nation phone lines, presented by the Cochran Firm. Since 2005, our guys, Larry and Brian, down at the Cochran Firm, have been fighting for you in the DFW area and Houston, by the way, mostly involving automobile accidents. So if you out there driving to work or driving home from work, I don't even like to leave my house after 2 or 3 o'clock to do anything until the evening because y'all can't drive. You get involved in one of those accidents, hit up my guys, man. They are very good at what they do. The Cochran Firm at 1-800-THE-FIRM.com or 1-800-THE-FIRM, or schedule a free consultation at CochranTexas.com. Here we go. 240. And these are a lot of numbers that I do not recognize besides Reek. So this will be interesting. 240. You up first. What's good?
Hello. Was it Scott? Can you hear me?
Who's this guy? Yeah, yeah. This.
Okay. I didn't know you said
is
240. I didn't know what 240 you was talking about. Okay.
I got you, brother.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
Good morning, good sir. I'm good. How are you?
I like your platform. Been following you for a while.
Thank you.
I'm gonna cut it. I'm trying to cut it short because I know you probably got a lot of people on here. I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna cut it short.
No. Today we'll take our time. We'll take our time with this. I mean, the phone lines are starting to get a little bit heavy now, but you first, man. You first.
I'm gonna try to keep it PG. I ain't gonna get rated R on here, but
okay.
Yeah, like I said, I've been following you, Vosh, all of y'all, man. Vosh know me. As a matter of fact, I met Vosh before at the Van Der Esch draft. He know who I am. But getting back to Dak, can you hear me?
I got you. I don't know if they can hear you, but I'm gonna turn you up a little bit for them. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Get back to Dak, and I've been following Dak ever since I'm a scout, self-proclaimed scout, do my thing on the side. It's more of a hobby now. I don't get paid for it. I love doing it, so it's a hobby. But I've been following Dak ever since he's been with Mississippi State, and I love the guy. I love the way he came up through the ranks. When we drafted him, I thought it was a great pick. Love Dak. It's just been 7 years of, we've seen 7 years worth of Dak right now. That's all I'm saying is that. And I don't usually, my thing is, Jerry don't never light a match under these quarterbacks. Ever since Jerry been in, he don't put nobody behind under these quarterbacks and light a match on them. Jimmy Johnson did it with Troy Aikman, Walsh. Bill Walsh did it with Montana. They brought in what's the quarterback? Steve Young. He wasn't a draft pick, but they brought in a free agency quarterback behind Joe Montana. Peyton Manning, they brought in Luck.
Well, you were good till you said Luck. Luck was actually brought in when Peyton left.
I mean, was Peyton okay? Peyton left, and then yeah, you're right. I'm sorry, you're right.
No, I get what you're saying. Just wrong.
But he was on the roster. Okay, yeah, he came in. They was moving on from him. Brett Favre, they went into drafted Aaron Rodgers. It's a lot of quarterbacks there. My thing is, Jerry needs to stop playing. Jerry needs to go get him a quarterback. I think Jerry needs to just go and get him a quarterback. Make the move. I'm not saying you can't get rid of Dak now. Nobody can play Madden. It's too expensive to get rid of Dak right now. But I say in that first round, Jerry need to go snatch him a quarterback. I'm not sure what we're picking at, but if he can move up, F them picks, go get a quarterback. I'm not saying you're going to get them top ones, C.J. Stroud or whatever, but there's a couple that might fall down into the teams. Andy Reid did it. He had Alex Smith. He went moved up and got Mahomes.
Yeah.
You know.
That's an argument.
Mahomes,
that's an argument that is not today's topic, but that's something I can listen to, because that doesn't really address what we're trying to figure out now. There's a group of people that do want to get rid of Dak right now, so I'm trying to figure out how we can do that. But
y'all want to get rid of Dak right now?
There's a whole lot of people that want to get rid of Dak right now. Yes,
they can't get rid of Dak right now. Look at the numbers. It don't make sense.
Hey, well, there's people that believe it does, so that's why I'm trying to give them the platform to tell me how the hell it works. And then I'll try to help him out.
This is my 2 cents right here.
Right. Your 2
cents
is I got you, brother. And let me elaborate on your 2 cents for you, okay? I appreciate you calling in. So he wants to trade up for a quarterback. I don't necessarily. So here's the thing. Y'all know me. I'd much rather go all in with what I got now. The F the picks thing would be more so go get me players that could help me right now. But if you're like, I don't want to use those picks to go get other guys to help win right now, I'd rather use those picks to go up and get a quarterback. All right. Okay. I'm actually not like going to break things for that thought process. Especially if you're at a point right now where it's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to see what we got the next 2 years, but we're going to draft a guy. We're going to try to trade up and draft a guy and groom him for if this doesn't work out. Cool. But I want to hear from the people that want to get rid of him right now. So let's see if we can find one of those. 318. What it is, what it do?
Good with you, big dog.
What's up, man?
Look, my name Melvin. I've been on your show a couple of times, but I ain't never called in.
Well, I appreciate you calling in, Melvin.
Already, man. Like, I'm like the last caller, man. Like, I really don't see how we can move him right now. But if it is a possibility, the only place I can see is unless you're going to get Derek Carr. And I don't pretty much got no faith in him either.
Right. That's the other thing, too, right? Like, if you want to try to get rid of him to upgrade from another guy, there's only 2 guys out there in free agency. I think it'll be Derek Carr and it'll be Lamar Jackson. And I think both of them comes with caveats.
Right, and I don't feel like Derek Carr's the guy, and I also feel like Lamar can't stay healthy. Like, I feel like we have like a good 2 seasons of showing that he always gets hurt, right?
Right, and if they're going to nerf Lamar's legs, like Lamar is not. What makes Lamar Jackson is not his arm, it's his legs. And if we're going to have a Kellen Moore, they're going to ask Lamar Jackson to be a drop back quarterback.
Correct.
Yeah.
And see, that's another thing, right? I feel like we're not going to really get nowhere with Kellen Moore either, like regardless of the quarterback that we do get. But
turn down your crib a little bit, brother. I can hear the echo back there.
Yeah, there's you playing in the background. Hold on, I got you.
Yep.
You good now?
Yep.
Okay then, but yeah, bro, I don't see no type of way we can get rid of him right now. My best bet is like just to try to build the team up around him at least for the next 2 years, because like I just don't see who we can get at the moment. Like is that crazy?
No. That's not crazy at all. Again, my stance has been, I've repeated this many times here. I would get rid of the offensive coordinator, bring in a guy that you believe can elevate the talent on this team through his scheme, right? Which will obviously help your quarterback. And if that doesn't work out, you can move on from Dak Prescott and probably don't face any financial ramifications that kill you. And maybe you draft that quarterback, whether it be second, third round or whatever. And if it doesn't work out with Dak, now you move forward with that quarterback. Maybe you trade him next year. I don't know, right? But I'm with you. I would rather try to figure this out over the next year or two, go all in, and if that doesn't work out, then let's move on.
Right, but see, my only little difference is like I feel like 7 years is a long time, right? 7 years is a long time to have.
You look, brother. You are not lying, right? But check this out. Peyton Manning didn't win it till he was 30, technically in his 7th season. Drew Brees wasn't nobody until he went with Sean Payton, and he didn't win it till his 9th season. John Elway, one of the greatest of all time, didn't win a Super Bowl until he was 35 years old or something like that at the tail end of his career. Steve Young didn't win the Super Bowl until he was 33 years old. The cat that just came from Detroit, that went to Sean McVay's squad, and he was in his 13th season. All right, I
understand that, but it's like those quarterbacks I feel like have a little bit more talent than that does.
But what did Drew Brees have prior to going to Sean Payton? He was just a regular quarterback.
I wouldn't say just a regular quarterback. He showed potential. I feel like he showed potential.
And Dak hasn't?
No. See, the difference is between them two is like he had a shoulder injury that messed him up.
No. That shoulder injury wasn't until the end of his tenure in San Diego.
Right.
Steve Young, another guy, failed out in one team and was a backup for the other team. Steve Young was a very good swashbuckling run-around quarterback, but it wasn't until he got with the Niners, who obviously put together great teams, and he won the Super Bowl where he started being respected as this guy might be a Hall of Famer, right? So it's another guy, right? Peyton Manning, one of the greatest of all time, was constantly looked at as a failure. They called him a choke artist in the playoffs for years, no matter how great he was, until it took a team, right, to win the Super Bowl. Go look at Peyton Manning's play in the playoffs that year in the Super Bowl.
I have. See, that's another thing. I feel like Dak is kind of like a poor man's Peyton Manning because, like, he does good in the regular season, but then when postseason come around, it's like he have a meltdown.
Is it though? Because look, check this out. The only team that has really made Dak Prescott look bad in the postseason is the 49ers. Dak Prescott played good. Oh, listen. Dak Prescott played good against Seattle. He played good enough against L.A. At the time, it was L.A. still. Obviously, he played excellent against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. His very first game was the only 300-yard, 3-touchdown game, I think, in Cowboys playoff history or something like that. He did something crazy like that. So, in how many games? 5? In 3 of the other 5 games, or how many games did he play? 6? 2 and 4, right? Yeah. So in 4 of the other 6 games, Dak Prescott played really well.
I mean, but playing really well and winning are 2 different things, though.
I mean, he won 2 of them, but nonetheless, you're talking about Dak Prescott's performance, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, when the lights get the brightest, it's like
when the lights get the brightest, he's played well against every team except San Francisco.
I mean, playing well and winning is 2 different things, guys.
Is winning a team game or not?
Yes, winning is a team game. But
okay, so are we blaming 3rd and 20 on Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers?
No, I wouldn't blame that on him.
Okay,
but
one more. Hold on.
But what about San Fran? Hold on. What about San Fran?
That's what I just. Are you not? I just told you San Fran is the. Hold on, I'm gonna keep going. Are you blaming 300 rushing yards on Dak Prescott when they played the Rams?
No. Okay. But I'm saying, I feel like you're changing it. I'm not changing it.
I just, brother, slow down. See, this is why when I start breaking it down and compartmentalize, people forget their own argument. You came in with this argument of Dak Prescott in the playoffs he doesn't step up. He the bright lights and everything, and I said no against San Fran, but against the other teams, Dak Prescott has played well.
One win.
2.
I can't get behind this guy. I can't get behind it because if you look at San Fran game, let's just.
I'm not asking you to get behind what I'm saying. I'm just telling you these are the facts. There's no getting behind facts. Facts are facts.
Right. Okay. So those are facts, right? Can
Yes.
we say let's just go to San Fran game, right? Can we just go there, right?
Yes.
I'm just saying that game. I'm just saying the passes that he did make, if he would have made those on time, I feel like we beat San Fran.
Oh, bro, so we're moving the conversation. I mean, you've been watching the show. The Dak Prescott played bad in it. All right, man. Appreciate the call, good brother. The conversation is now moving, man. Dak Prescott played bad in San Fran. That's not what this today is about. And I see where this is going. So we're going to see if we can. Go ahead.
No, I was saying like when I say his postseason, like I take all that into consideration. Like, yes, he had some games he played good in, right?
Don't take it all in consideration. Because I tried to put it all in consideration, and you said, well, forget about the other 4. Let's talk about the 1. What? No, you're not taking it all into consideration.
I'm saying even in his good games that he has had, like he lost those games.
He lost them. Dak Prescott lost all 4 of those other games or whatever by himself.
No. I ain't gonna say by himself, but I will put a large majority of the focus. This is
exactly why I did this.
Comeback.
Yeah.
He make late game comebacks. Like if we had that heroics all through the game,
yeah, man.
I feel like that could be top notch.
Yeah, man. Yeah, he can't give up those 300 yards. He cannot give up 3rd and 20. You know, he can't do that. Can't happen.
I mean, you got to throw the ball away too sometimes now.
Yeah.
When you take safety, put your things in holes too now.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Appreciate the good call, brother.
All right.
We're 0 for 2. We're 0 for 2. Oh, no. This ain't angry. This is why I'm glad I opened this up, because this type of thinking is what happens. People say one thing and you address that thing, and then all of a sudden, we're off into a different world. So we're 0 for 2. I'm still waiting. Because I really want to know, for those that are ready to get rid of him right now, how we do that and become better. So we'll try this again here. Let's see. 334. What it is, what it do.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's up, Sky?
What up, man?
Man, this my first time calling. I usually don't call because I be at work, but you know, I'm a little under the weather today, so I'm out. So I decided to call for my first time today.
Well, I appreciate you calling in for the first time, man. All first-time callers, the reason why I like y'all is because it feel like it's a big deal to call in, but once you call in, man, we just talking, we just rapping, we just chilling.
For sure. Everybody want to get rid of that, man, but me, on the other hand, I'm not ready to let him go. Because I feel like we haven't seen him like with enough talent to evaluate him yet. You feel me?
We've had talent, but we've had talent. I would say I would like to see him with a different coordinator, but I think we've had talent. I don't want to go that far.
But this what I'm saying, like if like say we switch GMs, like and like we had the Eagles GM, I don't know his name, and Jerry Jones went over there.
Well,
just say like that. But do what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And we went into the off season and we got the players that you see what I'm saying. Like we went out and we got the wide receivers and we went out and we got and that played like that against San Fran. I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, he just not him. You see what I'm saying?
I see. Okay. I got what you're saying. You're saying if he had kind of that loaded type of, you know, where you have a crazy court, you have a crazy scheme, you got these players, you know, the Goddards, the AJs, the Devontaes, the backfield, and then you look like that, you'd be more concerned. But he went out there with Noah Brown as wide receiver 2.
Exactly.
I get what you're saying, but I get what you're saying, but there was still opportunities in that game, but I do understand what you're saying. I would 100% take the Eagles general management, Howie Roseman, over anything in the Cowboys front office. Every day, twice on Sunday, and that includes Will McClay. Listen, I love Will McClay, but damn it, just drafting well is not getting this thing done. So I would take Howie Roseman all day tomorrow.
And that's what I'm saying. Like we rolling out there with fresh players. Like less experienced players. Like, and it's potential there. Our rookies have potential, but I'm saying like experience means something too. You see what I'm saying?
100%. Well, we were one of the younger teams left in the playoffs at that point.
And everybody say Dak's a bad quarterback and he can't raise the talent around. We went out there with a hobbled Michael Gallup, number 2 receiver Noah Brown, scoring 30 points a game. How is that?
Yeah, he clearly made guys around him. But I mean, just the week before, he had one of an all-time Cowboys playoff performance with that same group of players. He just ran into a buzzsaw of a defense and a defensive coordinator who has this team's number and has his number, and he couldn't make just those 2 or 3 plays you needed to make. And that's what happened in that game.
Exactly. So I feel like if we went into this offseason and we got that a respectable number 2 receiver, and Michael Gallup come back, it's been a year now. I think Michael Gallup will do fine, next year. I feel like with this offense, and Dak is quarterback, and we were scoring 30 points a game this year, man. Shit, but we just might score 50 points a game with that. It ain't no telling.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate the call, man. We're gonna keep it moving here and see if we can get some more up in here, bro. Good call.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, man.
The stuff right there. All right, let's see. We still haven't hit one just quite yet. A lot of new numbers. Don't know if we're going to be able to get to everybody here. There's a lot of, man, we'd be on here till 11 o'clock. But I just want to get to a few, though, that are interested in this specific topic. Let's try 318. I'm just guessing here. 318, what it do?
What's up, Sky? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. My first time calling.
Appreciate you calling in, man.
Listen there. All right. I've been a Cowboy fan since, I was born in 77. So last time they won, I was 18 years old in high school, 12th grade, 45 now. So I've been rocking with them ever since, still rocking. But listen here, I'm from Shreveport. So we watched Dak play in high school.
Okay.
At Halton High School. And at that time, Dak was mostly just a quarterback at the running back position. And then he made a few throws here and there. Same thing in Mississippi State. But the way to get Dak back on schedule, now I say this, if you give Dak to Kyle Shanahan or the Rams coach, I guarantee you they'll have him in the Super Bowl because they will play to his strength.
100%. I don't know how many times we have to say that on this show that coaching matters, right? And
yeah,
you've watched the show. I kept saying is if we stay in that bag of game planning and play calling, I feel confident because you're elevating now, right? You're elevating guys through your scheme. But when you're just relying on
play to his strengths. And what we need to do is we need to get back to building that strong offensive running line. Get that strong running game back. With a new offensive coordinator, I think Kellen Moore's time has been up. But get back to that strong offensive line, strong running game, and then you can get Dak back to a play action, and he would be awesome because that's what he is. Run first, play action quarterback. And if you can get back to that, I guarantee you'll see success.
I mean, you saw success this year. I just think it's overshadowed by the playoff loss. But yeah. I mean, play action is obviously money for most quarterbacks, especially him. And running game helps everyone, right? Running game helps everyone, but to me, having a legit run action is even more important than being efficient, is what we called it over the last 2 years. Efficient in the run game. I don't need you to be able to run it 35, 40 times a game. I need you to be efficient when you do run it.
You got to put it in there. Yeah. So here, I have one question for you here. If we bring back Pollard, I know Zeke wants to come back and take a little pay cut. What do you think about drafting the running back from Texas?
I knew you was going to say that. So you said, so what, drafted him with Tony Pollard and Zeke?
Well, I don't know about Zeke. You might have to let Zeke roll if you going in that direction of drafting running back.
Hey, I'm still not quite sold just yet, man. I could probably be talked into the kid. I mean, he's an amazing player, amazing. But I'm just not about drafting a back in the first round. I just, it crushes my soul because I know we're going to be revisiting this thing 3-4 years later. If they run him into the ground, do you pay him? And now you pay him, and he's not the same guy, and so I'm gonna have to be persuaded during draft season for that.
Yeah. But that's just my take, man, on everything. I think that if you get back, get the offensive line back strong and to get a decent running game, I guarantee you that could be, I mean, what he is now as a quarterback, Dak has really built himself to that. Because, from high school to Mississippi State, he wasn't the quarterback that he is now. Dak was basically known as a running quarterback. But what he's able to do now, throwing the ball, I mean, he has built himself up to that. And I think he has a lot more growing to do. And I think he's the type of person that will continue to build himself.
Absolutely he will. He's one of the hardest workers in that building, and it's not a question.
Yeah, I'm not ready to roll on him because I know he's going to work hard to get himself back together. And people talk about the interceptions this year. He's not known for that. So
right.
I think he can fix that.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. Appreciate
even Zeke. Yeah, I was just saying, even Zeke with the fumbles. Zeke wasn't known for fumbling, but he fumbled the ball and then he fixed that. So I think this is just a one-of year. Dak, with the interception, I think he'll come back stronger next year. That's all.
I agree, unless the same things return. But appreciate the call, man.
All right.
I saw in the chat by our guy, Mr. Bernie here, and this is sad because you actually tune into this show. Feels like every damn day. But I saw that you said, well, if he doesn't have weapons, why do you explain? Nobody was saying this against the Colts or I think you said the Bears or something like that. But if you tune into my show, not ESPN or what have you, I've been saying this for a while. I believe this offense started to become this high power scoring offense because of the quarterback and in spite of the coordinator. So what you're saying really is a support in what we're saying. We've been said, yes, these weapons clearly are not the same. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? You're scoring these number of points because this man was inserted. Don't believe me? When you took him out, how the hell did the offense look? It's really that simple. It's really that simple. So no one is saying, or no one is trying to say, well, we don't have weapons because we lost and we did have weapons when we won. No, you still didn't have weapons. You still didn't have weapons. Your quarterback just elevated those weapons against that particular team, and your coordinator, for the most part, during that day wasn't as bad. Now the Colts, it didn't. The Colts game is really an anomaly because you got all those points after all those turnovers started to accumulate, but you had other games like Minnesota, like Chicago, even in Jacksonville, you had stints in that Jacksonville game where you could tell the play calling there was a different bag during that game. But that's 3 games I'm talking about out of how many where we were like, hey man, what the hell are we doing? But we still scored 28 because of your quarterback. Somebody lying, Vach. Somebody lying. So I understand how you feel about the dude. I'm just saying, call in and tell me how. Excuse me. Because that's your solution. Hey, you get rid of Dak, everything will be fine. Tell me how. That's what today is about. Tell me how. I'm not here to argue with you. I want to legitimately hear how. You come in here calling people Dakaholics and stuff like that. That's childish, man. Today is about being. Didn't I say I didn't want to have to do this? Didn't want to have to do this today. Didn't want to have to give out the crayons and the coloring book. You know, the edible crayons. Because there's certain people that get a bit crazy and try to start eating them. I didn't want to have to do that. .302, what it is, what it do. .302, you live? Hello? All right, 302 is gone. 304.
Yo, so your real question was what it would look like if we moved on from Dak right now.
No,
right?
that's not the question. The question is for those that want to move on from Dak Prescott, and not even a question. Tell me how we move on from Dak Prescott and elevate to a Super Bowl favorite right now.
We won't. We're going to hit a slump. You know, the Patrick Mahomes is an anomaly. Joe Burrow, anomaly. Like, these are top. Well, Pat wasn't a top 5 pick, but Joe Burrow's top pick. Like, these players that we're not even going to be high enough. We're going to have to lose at least a good year or two with a backup or with a stopgap quarterback just to get somebody, just to get close enough to sniff somebody, right? Every time we try to make a trade, we suck at it. So we're going to give up 4 or 5 first-round picks. You know, we're going to always overpay for everything. For whatever reason, the NFL does not like when we make trades. Check Amari Cooper. Whatever the case may be. Coop could have got us a third at least. At the least could have got us a third. Somehow we get a fifth. Granted, it turned into Deron Bland, but at the same time, that's just good scouting at that point.
It didn't turn into Deron Bland. It turned into Matt Walesko.
Matt Walesko?
Yes.
Okay. Correct. But with Dak, he has never had a strong quarterback coach outside of Kidner. He has never had a strong offensive coordinator that knows what they're doing. Now, getting rid of Kellen Moore is the first thing we have to do. If we don't get rid of him anytime we get up against a tough defense that has studied us, that knows exactly what we're doing, they always shut us down. They always put us in a hole. So until then, until we get those two corrected, I see we're making changes already on the offense and defense so far as with the coaches. Kellen Moore, if he doesn't go, we're going to see the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
San Francisco has our number. Point blank period.
That's all you got for the show?
You said what?
I said that's all you got for the show?
Yeah.
All right, man. Good call. Appreciate you. And that's kind of how I feel too. It feels like San Fran just got our number as well, but you still got to be able to get over that hump. And maybe that's the next pull the monkey off the back type of thing. But TC asked me, and I was waiting for somebody to call in and then we could talk about this, but it hasn't happened just quite yet. So I'll give you the answer, TC. The dead cap situation and all that for Dak Prescott. So if you were to release Dak Prescott right now, which there are, trust and believe me, there are fans that get rid of Dak Prescott right now. Release him. $89 million dead cap for 2023, and you would lose almost $40 million on the cap for 2023 by just releasing him as a pre-June 1st cut. Pre-June 1st trade. Which means, well, let's trade him. $58 million on the dead cap, and you lose about $9 million. $58 million in 2023 dead cap. There is no splitting it. That counts to your 2023 dead cap. $9 million on the 2023. Negative $9 million. You don't save anything, you lose it. Mind you, he has a trade clause. No trade clause. Now, that doesn't mean he cannot be traded if he wants to be traded. But if he doesn't want to be traded, you're pretty much asked out. Well, Sky, Matt Stafford and Watson and Russell Wilson all wanted to be traded. Now, if you can convince Dak Prescott to be traded, right, and you find a partner, it would have to be designated a post-June 1st trade, meaning you're probably getting no compensation for this year. And draft-wise, if you're one of those that want to trade him and go up and get a quarterback or what have you, because he would have to be designated as a June 1st trade, which would then split the dead cap of what is about $50 or $60 million. You could split those two. 18 dead cap in 2023, 39 dead cap in 2024, which would break the record by $6 million, by the way. And then obviously you saved the $31 million this year. So that is and then if you pre-June 1st release him, you would split the dead cap of $89 million over 2 years, 49 in year 1, 39 in year 2. So there's a lot of money that you would obviously be carrying. And all of these dead caps will be records. The previous record is Carson Wentz, $33 million dead cap. So there's that. I mean, you can call it what you want, Sam. You can call it what you want. Today's show is about those who want to move on from Dak Prescott. You can call it passive aggressive, slightly, whatever you want to call it. You got opinions, call in, brother. Appreciate the donation. But if you got an opinion on how to move on from Dak Prescott and remain a Super Bowl contender over the next year or two, call in. Otherwise, keep, posting and sending in money for these weird comments. By all means, do so, sir. Other than that, fall back. 3, 2, 1. What it is, what it do?
Hey, what's up, Scott? It's Lamar, bro.
Yes, sir.
So I had an idea. If Kellen Moore gets a job in Carolina, Kellen Moore's going to need a quarterback, and Carolina's in need of a quarterback right now as it is. So why not, talk Dak into...
Boy, you real low.
All right, hold on. Can you hear me better now? Can you hear me better now?
Yes, now I can.
What about now?
Yep.
Okay, so what I was saying is this. Since Kellen Moore is interviewing for the Carolina job, why not talk to Dak and Kellen Moore, especially if Kellen Moore lands a job, why not try to go and make a deal with Carolina to where they send us over their first-round pick and maybe another pick, I don't know, maybe a mid-round pick or something like that for Dak. Then what we can do is we'd have a top 10, well, I think top 15 pick or whatever.
Man,
we can go out.
I wish I had an applause button. Keep going.
Then we could go ahead and, I don't know, since Derek Carr may be a free agent, we could bring him in for 1 year, pick up, a top 15 offensive player, and then at the back end, we're still going to get that. You could use that 26th pick. You're going to get somebody like Akili Ringo from Georgia as a cornerback, since we need that issue solved.
All right, so you had me in the first. Well, we're not about to do a whole draft. We're not doing a whole draft. You had me in the first half because I was about to say this was the first call that followed the goddamn rules on today's show, and I'm gonna actually help you out here. Well, here's what okay, if you can convince Dak to go with Kellen Moore to Carolina. Like, hey, Dak, you love Kellen so much, go be with Kellen, right? Let's say hypothetically we convince Dak, and you get their first round pick, which I think. If you can convince them, again, we're trying to convince them to give us their pick 9. Hopefully, that's a lot to ask for. But hey, give us your first round pick. I personally would package my first round picks to go up and just get your quarterback. Why sign Derek Carr? I think you're regressing.
So the reason why I said sign Derek Carr is because it keeps you relevant. Because you were saying staying relevant as a Super Bowl contender. It helps to keep you relevant with a quarterback who's just as good as he is. Then, on top of that,
but don't you just repeat that cycle?
No. So here's the thing. I'm thinking about using Derek Carr as more of a bridge player. You know what I'm saying?
So
then, keeps you relevant for that year.
So then why not just draft a quarterback later and just develop him?
So the reason why is because outside of Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I'm not very confident in the other quarterbacks being able to develop better than what Dak Prescott is.
Gotcha. So you're saying if there's no shot at going up to getting one of the top 2 guys, well, then I'd be out on that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, because Houston needs a quarterback, and Detroit, obviously, Jared Goff can only take them so far. So that's why I was saying you could use Derek Carr as a 1-year bridge player,
Then in the next draft, when you don't have a quarterback on your roster, then is the time to where CeeDee Lamb's very seasoned. You got your defense very seasoned, and
So how do you
be kind of like?
So how do you get that? How do you get that quarterback then in that top 5 quarterback, like top 5 draft pick quarterback? If you have Derek Carr, who you believe is not that far off from Dak or is the same as Dak, who's going to keep you in the running and make you have a pick that's in the 20s? How do you?
So that's what I was gonna say. This is when you're gonna take all your picks and you move up and select somebody like a.
I can't. I applaud. No. I applaud the effort, but I feel like you were better off doing the first part of your argument. Try to convince him to go to Carolina and get their 9th pick, package that 9th pick to go up and get one of those quarterbacks. But you're under the belief there's only 2. Maybe some other teams, maybe the Cowboys believe there's 4, and if they can get one of those 4, I can understand and get behind that. But to bring in a guy who's going to keep you in the 20s or the teens again, and now you can't go get that guy, that part of it doesn't make sense. But you are the first person that gave me something along the lines of a solution. It won't keep you in my opinion, it won't elevate you as a Super Bowl team. But I can understand trying to talk him into following Kellen Moore and getting their first round pick. I would understand that one.
Okay, and just one more thing I just want to say. Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Bijan Robinson. You heard it first. He was going to be better than him, and he's going to last longer in the league because he can actually split out wide, and he's got acceleration that ain't going to leave.
Come on,
y'all Bijan Robinson lovers.
Come on back during draft season, man. Make sure we'll be talking draft over Vouch Show next week. So come on back. I'm sure he'll love that tape.
Hey, I'll be back, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
All right.
Something. That was something. I ain't mad at that. That's why I said I want to hear these things. That was probably the first half. The best idea that I've heard as opposed of get rid of Dak Prescott. Oh, okay. What's the solution? And I saw again, Mr. Bernie said somebody talked about how numbers are going over his head, and he said, no, they sound like excuses. Excuses for what? I don't know what you're talking about. Somebody asked a question of what the cap hits and dead cap would be for Dak Prescott if you released him, trade him, and things like that, and I gave them to him. But again, we just have to remove your emotions about the situation. There's nothing to that response for what? What do you mean excuses, sir? These are literally facts of the matter. If you trade them and cut them, that's what you deal with. So how do we deal with that, right? All while building a contender for the next year or two. If your idea is to not be a contender in the next year or two, just say that. Say I'm willing to go through a 5-year period to try to figure this out with a different quarterback in the draft, or I don't know, Derek Carr, Ryan Tannehill, or whoever it may be, with this front office, with this offensive coordinator. I'm just asking for answers, but you're not giving me those things. You're just kind of throwing out excuses and Dakaholics and things like that. Like, let's not do that, man. All right, so I say we 1 for 5. I like that one. 267. What you got for us?
Yo, Sky, it's we don't like these 304s.
Oh, I already know you ain't finna give us nothing. So 1 for 6. So now, what's up, bro?
Hey, man, my bad. I was just thirsting on this 304s.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah. Hey, you know when you get down to 2019s on a girl's Instagram, you're down bad. I don't want to move on from Dak Prescott. I want to make one thing clear. But sure. I want to give people the right answer to this, to the people that want to move on so they don't make themselves look stupid. The best way to do it would be for this season to go get a new offensive coordinator, go get as much talent as you can possibly get on the offensive side of the ball, make it a 2-year evaluation period, make it so that the offense around him is so good that if the offense fails, it's on the quarterback. Go get an experienced play caller. And if Dak underperforms this year, go draft a quarterback in next year's draft and then do another year of evaluation. And then if he's still not the guy, you can move on from Dak at the end of his contract. and you would have no dead cap money, no cap hit whatsoever.
That sounds very logical. And that's kind of along the same lines that I've been living. Like the same thing. This the dude Bernie. What's your solution? Keep Dak for 2 more years, lose in the playoffs? Are you not listening? You're not listening to guys like Chris and guys like me. I've literally gave you what I believe you should do. Replace the OC. Load the hell up. Load up and try to go all in on winning this whole thing over the next year or two. If it does not work out, then you have no problem, like you said, starting over and get to court. In fact, if I in the back of my head was already thinking, all right, we got to start thinking about if we have to replace him, I'd draft the quarterback now. I'd draft him in the second round or what have you and go that route and see if he can kind of just, obviously you have 4 years, right? And you don't need 4 years, but you have 4 years. See if he can develop in the next year or two, and if it doesn't work out, you move on, and you got your quarterback to try to take over in the meantime. And if he doesn't work out, he's a second-round pick. So it doesn't stop you from drafting another quarterback in the top first round or what have you, top 5, trade, whatever you want to do. So my thought on this has not changed. I said that if you've been paying attention, it sounds just like what you said, Chris.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Because that's the only logical way you're going to do this, because you're not going to trade him because he has a no-trade clause and you'd still get hit with dead money. And you're not going to cut the guy because that's $89 million in – I mean, you're not even going to have a team at that point.
1%.
So, yeah, I just wanted to chime in with that. I hope that we keep Dak Prescott. I'm all for keeping Dak Prescott. But, you know, people aren't actually putting forward good solutions, and that's the most frustrating part about this.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't like the guy. They're very rational and emotional, and you know they don't have the solutions. But that's what today's show is about. Give me the solution. Like, let's talk it through.
And you're a brave soul for it, because I wouldn't be able to handle it. I wouldn't be able to handle some of the stupidity that people are going to put forward.
Yeah, well, it's about how you go into it, right? Like I went into this obviously. I want to hear this, and I actually want to help these people so that we can try to make sense of it, because just shouting out, get rid of Dak Prescott, he's a problem, all your problems are fixed, is not it. It's not it, man.
Yeah. And one last point, you know, people were saying like, oh, well, you know, what was Kellen supposed to do with this talent? Well, what was the excuse for last year? He had plenty of talent last year, and, you know, they put up great numbers, but it didn't get him anywhere in the playoffs, and it's like, you know, with that talent, you give Kyle Shanahan that talent that they had last year, should have no problem getting to the Super Bowl, even if you have to play a San Francisco 49ers.
There it is. Appreciate you, man.
Well, I'll talk to you.
All right. Let's keep this thing moving. See if we can get William Birding in here or any of these Facebook people. Who this? Who did I click on? I don't know what I clicked on. 337.
How you doing, Luke? How you doing, Mr. Walker?
Mr. Walker. What's good, man?
How you doing, sir?
I'm good.
All right, I'm first time calling, man. I've been listening to you for a long time.
Thank you.
You West Coast and Law Nation, man, y'all. I've been a Cowboy fan all my life since I was 9. I'm a 50-year-old man.
Yeah.
And I want to tell you, thank you, man, for what you do, because as a Cowboy fan, it really opened my eyes all these years. But it showed me that I be feeling like just people around me hate the Cowboys, and I see the world hate the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But let's get to the point. We can't get rid of that. We cannot get rid of that. It has been proven that no matter what, Kellen Moore showed us that he can't win with talent, and he can't develop talent. Because when we had talent at receiver, when Zeke was running good, he wasn't using Pollard. Now that's when we had the talent.
You know what about the Pollard thing that's going to get undermined? And I said this at the start of the show. You know, you had Tony Pollard for 4 years. You only decided to really use him for 1, and that's going to get you know, thrown under the bus here. We talk about, well, what about last year when he had XYZ? You can legitimately say he didn't have Tony Pollard. because they didn't decide to use Tony Pollard in any manner, not even just a manner, in any manner. They didn't use TP last year, and it was very, very frustrating. But go on here, man.
And speaking about Tony Pollard, what makes it difficult now they got us as fans looking at, well, why should we renew his contract when we had him for 3 years and he didn't use him? So we underused him and we undervalued TP. But getting back to Dak is probably the best quarterback we can have right now. Any other quarterback, we would be 4-4. We'd win 4 games, 4 or 5 games.
You mean that's available?
That's the way yes, with the quarterbacks that are available and what we have calling the plays with our OC. A lot of our wins have come on Dak's shoulders, him personally. Because you can tell as a football player and a person that studies football, or even like if you're not just a common fan, you can tell the scheme and everything that's going on with us is not suitable for Dak. And I've been watching Dak since he was in high school. I'm from Louisiana. Where Dak's from, Westlake, is like an hour and 10 minutes from my house. And he went to Mississippi State, and I'm following him at Mississippi State. It turned into a hate relationship because I'm an LSU fan, and he played for Mississippi State. And I done seen him, I done been to games at where he just took the game over against LSU. So I know he has that capability of doing that. We just have to put the right pieces around him, and I hate to see it. Well, not hate to see it. I'm glad to see it. Kellen Moore, we need to do whatever we can to help him get that job for the Carolina Panthers. We need to start a GoFund to add money to his contract, whatever we need to get him out of here, man, because we will not find out what we got with Dak. Dak will never reach his ceiling with Kellen Moore. To me,
that's what I've been saying.
It's like
I think they've already reached their ceiling together. That's.
Yeah.
If you bring back the same old same, I don't think you're going to see anything different. And if it was me, I'm not changing the quarterback for an offensive coordinator that can't get the best out of this guy. Like, if you're going to change the quarterback, you better get somebody that one of those 6 or 7 guys in front of them that are better. But even then, with this coordinator, right? Like, you're not getting a Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow like that. That's not happening. You're not getting one of those dudes.
At all. And to get that, you have to that quarterback has to have shown that in the past that he can do that. Dak has never been on a team from college to right now where he has been, hey, it's all on you to win the game. He always has been surrounded with good talent. Always.
Well, all right. Well, let's see if we can get somebody else up in here, man, that can explain away how we can get better without him. All right. Appreciate the call, good brother.
Thank you. You have a blessed day.
You as well. Man, the title of this show got everybody coming out. And I see there's regular callers in here, and I'll try to get to some of y'all, but I truly do want to hear from these people that I've never seen these numbers before. And I'm damn sure not going to get to everybody. There's too many callers. But I'm trying to fulfill the duties of today's show. So let's see if we can do that. 404. What it is, what it do? Hello?
Oh, how you doing? I'm sorry.
That's all good.
So I think I've only called once before, and it was at the beginning of the year when they lost to Tampa Bay. And we went through this whole Kurt Warner and progressions and blah, blah, blah. And basically, no player can elevate past their coaching. And I think a lot of the last couple of calls have kind of just stole the thunder of the whole point, which is I'm going to give you a good and a bad. So the only way I can see a way out of it is just the opportunity is just tell them, like, hey, look, you obviously can't elevate your team past the first round of the playoffs. So we're going to bench you. We know you got a no-trade clause, but we're going to bench you, put Cooper Rush in, let him play the whole season, basically do a tank season. During that time, if you decide that you want to get traded or get rid of your no-trade clause, it's up to you. And then, but you'll make the decision there. But we're basically going to tank and try to get a quarterback. If that's what they're going to do. It doesn't make any sense, but that could be the option.
Yeah. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. You think
on the
that's
positive side?
No, sir. No, sir. You're not going to just breeze by that.
Oh, no, I don't want to breeze by it. I mean, I'm a Dak Prescott fan. I'm just throwing out the
I'm just saying. It's like,
you know
we're going to bench Dak Prescott, roll Cooper Rush, suck for a little bit. But here,
real quick.
Let's talk about real life, what that does, right? Okay, so, all right, boom. When are you deciding to bench Dak Prescott?
Oh, beginning of the year, because we've decided that
like March.
Not good enough to get No, in fact, I'm telling him right during his exit interview from the end of this season, you know what? You're not good enough to play. You're not good enough.
Okay,
you're on the bench.
We're going to re-sign Cooper Rush. We ain't going to go out and try to get a Derek Carr or somebody. We're going to re-sign
Cooper Rush. Ben DiNucci is going to be our second string. That's exactly right. No, I'm giving this
okay.
Keep going. Keep
all
going.
Right, so, boom, Dak Prescott says, all right, you say he's going to bench him or whatever, and that happens. So, you're saying we keep him around through camp?
Yeah, we keep him around through camp because he's got a no-trade clause. So we want him to get rid of the no-trade clause.
Yeah, that won't be possible. I think you'd have to trade him, like, right away and just take the $59 million cap hit or dead cap hit and just probably be in. Now, you want to talk about cap hell now. You would literally be in cap hell for at least 2 years or so. And like you said, suck and basically go with the theory of, hey, we're going to suck for a few years. We'll figure this thing out in 5 to 6 years. And hopefully by that time we are elevating to Super Bowl contender.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now I'm going to talk realistically.
Okay.
Realistically, the conversation at the beginning of the year was, with your current offensive coordinator, which everybody has said, or your current coaching itself, you'll never be able to elevate. There's not been any team except maybe the Dallas Cowboys in '95 that were able to elevate their play over what they had as for coaching with Barry Switzer. In '90, but that was because they won in '92 and '93. So they already had all those coaching schemes in place. So, I mean, I'm going to say right now, the only thing I can think of, man, is you obviously have to have a sit down with Kellen Moore and just say, like, hey, man, maybe he's not able to do these pure progression reads. When he does these pure progression reads, sometimes he's late on throws. When he's late on throws, he makes mistakes. And it gets him all discombobulated. If you go to more of the pick-a-side definitive, I think once again you watch Kurt Warner for 51 minutes. You watch these plays.
Kurt was straight up telling you. He's been telling for the last 2 years on Kellen Moore, but nobody wanted to listen to that shit,
bro.
But see, I don't have a problem with pure progression from time to time. But then there's times where it's like, hey, man, like I said, I always bring up this
quick hitters.
Yeah.
Slant flats. All your quick, all this,
or situation
left to turn right,
check it, like situationally, like I need a play, I need a first down. You didn't see Shanahan put Purdy in pure progression reads. They said we're going to isolate a guy and he's going to win and we're going to get the first down. When we needed a big first down on 3rd and 10, we ran 4 stop routes.
Yep, and let's just be honest. So now you're asking a
4
guy
hook routes,
to run pure progression. Yeah, you're asking the guy to run pure progression the entire game.
Yeah.
So he's got 60 plays where he's got to be perfect, or 36 plays where he's got to be perfect, and you're not going to be perfect. Peyton Manning is a perfect example of that. When he got into the playoffs, the perfection can only go so far, especially against faster, quicker defenses. because then you're going to have to make your reads quicker. When you have to make your reads quicker, you speed up, which was what Mike McCarthy was talking about with him speeding up on his reads.
They don't hear you.
And when he sped up on his reads, it got him all discombobulated. So let's stop speeding up his reads, because that's not the type of guy he is. Like you said, you pick certain spots where he can go ahead and go through that pure progression, but pick a side. If they not open, run it. Or roll out and get your open play where you get more one half of the field. But all this, I'm a pure progression every single play. I need you to be perfect every single play. It's just not going to work. And that's fine, because that's not the type of player he is. Hell, that might be the type of player that none of these quarterbacks are.
There's a handful. There's only a
Burrow,
handful.
if you see how fast Burrow gets the ball out of his hands knowing that he doesn't have an offensive line, he's not doing a pure progression. He's doing, I'm picking the side based off of my pre-snap read, I'm checking it down. He's doing lightweight Tom Brady work. So, I mean, at some point, man, you gotta decide which way you're going to roll based off of your personnel. That's all I got to say.
Right,
Thank you,
guys.
Good job. Fantastic.
Fantastic call. Fantastic call. I don't know what else to say about it, man. Just a good call. Probably went over so many people's heads, but this is something that we've been talking about from a schematic standpoint forever. All while saying, hey, dog, if that's what they're asking you to do, well, then so be it, Dak. You gotta do it. You have no other option. You've got to overcome that. And how many times I got to come over and say that? For people that have been watching me for years, coaching has to overcome the front office. Players have to overcome the coaching. Majority of the time in this organization. That's just how it's laid out. But that was a fantastic call because you pretty much explained exactly the issue with this scheme. And I said this so many times. I've said this too. I don't believe Dak is an elite. Well, I hate to use that term elite. A 1, 2, 3 quarterback, because those are elite to me. Like those top 3 dudes, and then there's everybody else. I believe he's in that everybody else category. But there's only a handful of these dudes. I said that I would rather take here to read through all these progressions every day. But what coordinator, what player wants to do that for 60 damn minutes? Go watch the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. The shit he's talking about. If you go look at it, especially in the red zone, oh my God, the red zone calling was phenomenal. We broke it down. We gave Kellen credit. I said, hey man, you bring this to next week, we on to something. There wasn't a bunch of going through the motions and seeing who's open. It was deliberately getting guys singled up in the back of the end zone, getting guys singled up wide open based off of the specific schematics of the play. Then you get to San Fran. And he just went away. Why? Why would you deliberately go away from what this quarterback and offense is extremely comfortable in certain situations and play into the defense's hands? A question I would love to ask Kellen, a question I would love to ask McCarthy. But, anyway. Let's see, man. 202. We got about 15 more minutes. We'll see what's up. 202 was good. Hello? Hello? All right. No, 202. 214. What up? 214. You live?
You there, Scott?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So the only scenario that I see, Sky, that actually does your premise of how to get better.
Yep.
Is you trade Dak post June 1, so
Okay.
you don't have as big of a cap yet.
Right.
And then you try to bring in Tom Brady on the cheap. That's about the only way I think that it's possible you can get better. I'm not saying that you will, and that's not an idea I want to do. I'm just saying that's, to me, the only plausible idea that makes you better.
Close. So you got to get more weapons for Tom, right? Because I don't think.
Sure.
I don't think Tom's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be just draft, brother. Tom Brady didn't go to Tampa Bay because they said we're gonna draft you weapons. He got to Tampa Bay with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Then they went out and got Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski, right, and Leonard Fournette. So I think you would have to
Definitely.
do.
I think you got to mortgage the bank for sure.
Yeah. I think you're going to have to do that. I think if you bring in a Tom Brady, cut Dak or trade Dak Prescott post June 1st, if he wants to be right, you have to go out and you have to go load up. And I want to put a pin in that, but okay.
That's the only way I see it. I'm not saying do that. I'm just saying that's the only scenario.
Oh, what's your number, Will?
Possible.
Yeah, no, I found you. No, I hear you. Is what I'm going to say. I hear you. If there was a solution, right, to it be Tom Brady, 46 years old, I don't think you want to put everything on Tom Brady though, right? I think you're going to need to load up with Tom Brady. You're going to need to load it on up.
Anyways, have a great day, Scott.
All right, man. Thanks. Appreciate you. All right, we got one. That was another one. Mr. William Burney, please, sir, the floor is yours. Explain to me how we get better, go Dak Prescott to win the Super Bowl.
Well, first, I just want to talk about how, the apologists continue to make excuses for this guy. After 7 years, how long does it take to evaluate a quarterback? Do we need 10 years? Because we've seen 7 or 6 because he had the injured season. We've seen 6 years of him choke in big games. And then people want to say he doesn't have enough weapons. What about in 2021 when he had Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb? That wasn't enough weapons, and we still scored 17 points at home in a playoff game against the 49ers.
He did.
We continue to make nonstop excuses for this guy.
Right.
He's just not that guy.
Mr. Burney.
He chokes in the big games. If you take away the 2 interceptions, well, just one more thing, I'm going to let you go. If you take away the 2 interceptions and he puts together 1 drive in the second half, 1 touchdown drive in the second half, we win that game. The defense held that
100%.
offense to
He was bad, Will.
points.
Hey, Mr. Burney, he was bad against San Fran, brother. But let's
Thank you.
Yeah, but have we not been saying that all week? But would you be willing to give up on Peyton in the playoff?
My
Would you have been a move?
He's not
Question.
Peyton
Relax. Hey. So calm down. I was just asking some questions
Go
here for you,
ahead.
okay? Drew Brees in his 9th season. Would you have been willing to give up on him prior to that?
But he's not any of them, though.
Well,
He's
Mr.
not. So
well,
you're comparing.
Will,
By saying that,
Will,
it
Will.
sounds like you're comparing him to Drew Brees.
I'm giving examples of certain players that didn't win Super Bowls until they were put in situations with better coaching or better teams to win those said Super Bowls. So just bear with me, good brother. Drew Brees, you would agree that Drew Brees wasn't Drew Brees until Sean Payton came along, right?
He was really good in San Diego, though.
He wasn't that good. He was very mid quarterback.
They got to the playoffs multiple times, though.
He was a very mid quarterback, but nonetheless, Matt Stafford.
Okay.
It took him 13 seasons to win a Super Bowl until he went to a better coach, a better. I'm just naming guys. We understand Hall of Famers like Brees. Well, I want to consider Brees because he wasn't quite a Hall of Famer yet. But Manning was on the way to being a Hall of Famer in the regular season. Elway the same way, but he didn't win until season 15. Steve Young. These are just examples of guys who did not win until they were deep in their careers, until they were put in better situations. That's the reason why I wanted to bring that up. Now, you, on the other hand, you're just over Dak Prescott, right? You're just over Dak Prescott.
Yes,
you're ready to move forward. So you're almost the main reason why I did this. My reason to do this show is, okay, I'm not going to fight you on that. Okay? Many people are over Dak Prescott. Now, how do we move forward while getting better, getting rid of Dak Prescott right now? Because you said that's our problem, right? Like, that's our problem. You get rid of him, the problem's solved. Go.
Maybe it's time to just start over completely. Draft a quarterback. Maybe you got to bite the bullet and eat the money. Because look, we're not winning a Super Bowl with this team. So what's the point? What's the point of going forward? We might as well bust it up, start over, or if not rebuild, get another quarterback.
Right, but
eat the money. Just get anybody.
But how?
Get anybody at this point
is what I'm asking. The how, right? Like, what is it that they should do that realistically keeps you in contention to elevate,
well, yeah, but
right?
see, you're worried about. See, that's the problem. You're worried about staying in contention. Okay. We went 12-5 back-to-back years. We've had these records where we win the division and get in the playoffs, but we can't get past the divisional record. He's 0-3. We're 0. What are we? 0-7 since the Aikman era in the divisional round. Like, so what? At some point, you want a championship. So just winning these getting 10 wins,
now,
it's no longer good enough. See, that's still good enough for
now,
you.
No,
you're
it's not.
still talking about how do we stay in contention.
No, it's
I don't
not.
want us to stay in contention.
No, it's
I want
not.
to win a Super Bowl.
No, it's not. Go look at
You
go.
wanna stay in contention.
No, I don't. Will Bernie, calm down. Go look at read my title. I said, how do you get rid of Dak Prescott and become Super Bowl favorites to win a Super Bowl? What you just said. You said since the Aikman days. Dak Prescott ain't even old enough to remember the Aikman days. So what you're saying is the problem ain't Dak Prescott. The problem is who?
He's got a part of that, though. He's
he got a part of that.
We are reliving the Tony Romo era all over again. Look at this. He's 2-4 in the playoffs. That was Romo's record.
Right.
He's 0-3 in the divisional round. He's also turned into Tony Romo with the turnovers now.
Sure.
That was the one good thing that he had was he didn't turn the ball over. Now he leads the league
Will,
in interceptions.
you yelling and screaming.
Interceptions in 12 games,
bro,
sir.
you gonna go cry in the car? Or you going relax, brother? Because you sound like you about to cry, man.
That was a good rebuttal. Okay, I'll give you that. That was a good rebuttal.
I appreciate the passion. I'm trying to get you to bottle it up because I like this passion, but you blowing over things that I'm trying to get you to understand. You're talking about shit with this organization that exceeds or precedes Dak Prescott.
I'm also talking about him too, though, because we are reliving. Right. It's like deja vu. We are reliving the Romo era.
We are.
2 more years when the deal is done, he will have had 9 years, just like Romo.
So what you want the front office to do, because we're talking about the front office now, right, is to buck the trend of what they've been doing, right, and do something completely different to try to get better for the future, is what you're saying, which is basically get rid of Dak Prescott, suck for a few years, 5 years, whatever it is, figure it out, and then hope for the best afterwards, right?
I would suck for the Bengals sucked and got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I would suck for that.
Yeah, the Bengals sucked for 30 years to go, or not even 30 years. The Bengals sucked for almost
go that
4
far.
decades.
You had Carson Palmer in there for a little bit, and they weren't a Super Bowl contender,
right?
But
right.
they were what we are. They were what we are right now. They couldn't advance to the playoffs.
Well, you know what I mean. They didn't. You said you want to win Super Bowls. Those dudes didn't win the Super Bowls. They still haven't quite yet, but they didn't win Super Bowls.
And now they got a guy who in just his second and third year got him in back-to-back championship games. While we got a 7-year guy who can't sniff the championship game.
Right.
All right.
So what I'm telling you,
we got this league
Mr.
has
Bernie,
guys that are wet
are you
behind
on
their ears
cocaine
going
right
to
now?
Brock Purdy.
Are you on
Brock Purdy's been in the league
Adderall?
for 10 minutes here in the championship game.
Hey,
It's my turn.
Jalen Hurts been in the league
You told
for a
me
year
it was
and a
my
half.
turn.
are you going?
Hey, I'm sorry.
Okay, boy. I swear I feel like you on crack cocaine right now, bro. You just keep going. Relax.
I'm tired. I'm a non-alcoholic. That's what I am.
There is no such thing as that, man. So you're asking the franchise to buck trends and do something that they don't normally do. I'm asking for them to do the same damn thing, but my ask is just on the side of going all in. Can you admit this? You can say they've had talent or whatever you want to say. Can you admit this? Over the last 27 years, have you seen the Cowboys go? I ain't gonna say 27. Let's not even go 27. Let's talk about Romo Dak era. Have you seen them go all in?
So 2021, the roster wasn't good enough to win a Super Bowl.
See, this you're going. Just listen to my
okay,
question.
Okay, no, that may not have been all in.
Right.
That wasn't what the Rams did. That was not going to get Von Miller.
No. I don't need them to go
Odell
that
Beckham.
far. I don't need them to go that far. But there's aspects of that you can use to build your team. Okay. So my what I want them to do is just on the opposite end of what you want them to do. You want them to buck a trend that they haven't done, which is, hey, I'm willing to eat all this dead money, be bad for a little bit here, and hope to grab a Joe Burrow or Patrick Mahomes, right? That's what you're hoping that they do. Mine's is I would rather them literally go all the way in with the new offensive coordinator, by the way. And if that does not work out, then we can draft said quarterback because you're going to be bad anyway. I would rather them attempt to go all in. They even told you, they admitted to you as a fan, We are not going all in. We don't want to go all in. We are scared to go all in because of Brandon Carr. That's what they said. Well, we tried this whole all in thing, which it really wasn't all in, and we don't want to do that. I'm saying stop being scared. You're saying stop being scared to suck to grab Joe Burrow. I'm saying stop being scared to go all in with a quarterback that's a top 10 quarterback. And if it doesn't work out well, then yes, let's go draft a guy or what have you. But I don't see the benefit right now in dumping Dak Prescott, taking on whatever it is, this cap hit, and thinking that we're going to be in a contention to win the Super Bowl in the next few years. Because the way our organization is structured, right? Like, you want them to get a quarterback, but what if we get a quarterback and they remain with the same thought process? I don't want them to have that same thought process.
What if you draft a quarterback now to put some pressure on him?
I'm with that.
Cooper Rush.
I'm with that.
He knows Cooper Rush is not a legitimate threat to take his job. We all know that.
We both wills. I'm with that. I'm all for if they want to draft a quarterback.
I found one thing we saw out of Iowa. Okay.
I'm okay. If you want to draft a quarterback in the second round, I think I'm doing it in the first round because you're at 26. In the second round, I allow the Jalen Hurts stuff. Cool. That don't bother me. That don't bother me not one bit. But can you understand the other?
At least someone that's a threat that we could, put pressure on him. To like, okay,
right.
If you throw 15 interceptions again this year, this guy's coming in.
But can you understand what I'm saying about going all in with a different offense coordinator? Going all in like you see some of these other franchises doing, because that's really what's happening around the league, man. Like, we talk about Joe Burrow and stuff, but Joe Burrow's not Joe Burrow unless they go out there and spend that bread that they spent, to surround him with talent. Patrick Mahomes is an alien, but he has one of the greatest coordinators of all time, and they still went out there and surrounded him with talent. Josh Allen hasn't, won the Super Bowl or nothing like that yet. But even they said, let's go out here.
We're saying it like Dak didn't have talent in his career.
No.
So Amari Cooper, let me ask you this. So Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb last year, that was not talent. That was not good enough for him. He needs Jerry Rice in his prime and Randy Moss in his prime to get past the Niners at home in a wild card game.
All right, Will, you gotta, bro. You go on these damn Adderall tangents, man. Calm down. Let me ask you this: did the offensive line talent play great in that game? Did Ezekiel Elliott play? I'm asking you.
Got to a Super Bowl with
hold
the
on,
worst offensive line in
listen.
NFL history in his sophomore year.
You mean to tell me he didn't have talent? Don't do this.
No, he had talent, but his offensive line was horrible. He had the worst offensive line in NFL history and got to the Super Bowl as a sophomore.
And he played, and he did. And he did. There's no excuses. Go cry in a car, man. If you're not going to be able to listen, go cry in a car. Now calm down and listen.
But I'm giving you rebuttals.
Listen.
I am loud.
No. You're not giving. You're interrupting me. You're interrupting me. Is what you're doing. Joe Burrow against the Titans played terrible, right?
Yeah.
Terrible. And his team elevated and got the dub, right? That's what happened. Dak Prescott played terrible. There's no denying that. And they weren't able to elevate and get the dub, right? Now, you say Dak Prescott played bad in the game. He did play bad in that game. We're talking about last year. He did play bad in that game. But are we just going to alleviate everything else that happened in that game? Tony Pollard gets 3 touches. We're doing annexation of Puerto Rico's on second down. Our game plan was absolutely trash. He needed to elevate from all that crap. But let's not act like this is just a solo thing is what I'm getting at here. Let's not act like that. Yes, he had Amari Cooper, who had 6 receptions and a touchdown in that game, and he had CeeDee Lamb. There's no denying that. I'm not going to sit here and question that. But also, no one else on that offense seemed to be able to step up, and he couldn't do it. So, yes, he's going to get the brunt of that. I'm just asking you to look at the rest of the picture. Does that make sense to you, Mr. Bernie?
Yes, it makes sense. But you know what else is funny about our fan base? No one ever says he needs more. No one else ever says he needs more help when we're scoring 54 on the Colts.
That's not. Did
or
not.
40,
so you
40
did,
to 3 on the Vikings.
So you did hear my
49 on the
Bears.
Bears. Right, everybody's he's amazing.
Mr.
Look
Bernie.
at what he can do. I don't hear anyone ever say he needs more weapons. Then it's only when he runs into a real defense.
Mr. Bernie.
That's when everybody's like, he doesn't have any help.
Barney.
He's playing with a high school offense.
Barney. You listen to my show every day, correct?
Absolutely.
Why are you lying then? Why you?
Because because after we have those blowout wins, I hear people in the chat. They're like, "Oh, he's so great! Look at what he can do."
Oh, people in the chat. So you're not talking about me.
When we beat these teams that he puts the big points on, yes, Pete. No one says anything about CD wasn't enough,
Mr. Bart,
or Schultz wasn't enough.
No. We're not talking about CD.
Only when he runs into the teams like the 49ers,
Mr. Barney,
or Kansas City when we got 9
I'm gonna
points
ask
on
you
the
one
road
more
last year.
time. I'm gonna ask you one more time. Why are you lying, sir? I come
I'm
on
not lying.
I come on this show every single week after those type of performances, and I say to y'all all the damn time, I believe he is winning in spite of the coordinator and elevating those guys that day. That does not take away from the fact that Noah Brown and Michael Gallup are not top tier talented guys, Mr. Barney.
And so why couldn't he elevate himself to not throw 2 interceptions against the 49ers on Sunday? And why couldn't he elevate one touchdown drive? He wasted a defensive performance that held a red-hot Niners offense to 19 points.
You are repeating. You're repeating.
We should be playing the Eagles in the championship
game
Sunday.
Mr. Barney. And I do not disagree that he played terrible. But we have now taken the conversation all the way far left. The conversation was never about him playing on Sunday. It was a bad game. The conversation was, you want to get rid of Dak Prescott. How the heck do we get rid of Dak Prescott and become a Super Bowl team in the next couple years? You said not possible, right?
Is there any way we can get out of the no trade clause?
There was an example earlier in the show where, and this was one of the best ones I've heard, where if Kellen Moore goes to Carolina, okay, and you can somehow persuade Dak Prescott to go to Carolina. That's like the best one that I've heard. But it's a no trade clause. It's if he wants to go, he has to be able to say, yes, I want to be traded. He does not want to be traded right now.
So maybe we could do, now this is going to sound a bit insane and dramatic, but maybe the fan base can do him like, you remember how the Sixers did Ben Simmons? They kind of harassed him till he just wanted to leave. Maybe we can just harass Dak out of town. Is that a possibility?
Damn, now you want to send the goons to Dak.
I did say it was going to sound a little insane, but it's doable.
So you want to send the mafia? Yeah, you want to send the mafia to Dak's house?
Absolutely.
Oh, damn,
we'll force
Bernie.
him to want to leave. He'll hate Dallas so much he'll want to leave. Boom. There you go. There's an option.
All right, well, listen, I appreciate you, at least attempting to make one.
It's all love. We're both down with it.
And you're passionate and frustrated. I get it.
I've been through the whole 28 years. I'm not one of the kids that just started watching the Cowboys.
I can do it.
All right, I go back to the 90s, early 90s era. So I'm a part of all of the pain for the 28 years. That's what's coming out through this phone call.
No, bro, trust and believe me, brother. I feel it. You ain't got to tell me. I feel it. I'm not mad at your passion. I'm not mad at your passion at all, man. I appreciate it. It's good content.
All right, man. You take care.
You as well, man. See, I appreciate Mr. Bernie calling in here, man. Did y'all enjoy that? Mr. Bernie said the solution is to send the goddamn mafia to Dak's crib. Now, I know I'm Italian, but I can't subscribe to that, bro. I said no. I think we all can agree we need to take a quick break, man. Let's take a quick break. Let's talk about Boston Scientific. In the U.S., more than 39 million men suffer from ED. And Boston Scientific has created edcure.org to help you find your best cure. To get started, go to edcure.org, take a quiz, and learn the severity or risk of ED. And if you have a condition that puts you at a high risk, man, look, they got content for you. So hit them up. Find your best cure at edcure.org, brought to you by Boston Scientific.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
in front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and Here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
Hey, yo. Send Danny to the crib. He said he want us to harass Dak, my bad, like Philly harassed Ben Simmons. That's unique. That's unique. I don't think that's gonna work, Mr. Birdie. I don't think that's gonna work, man. But I appreciate the creativeness. I appreciate the creativeness in trying to get that to happen. So this is just one of those, hey man, anybody but Dak Prescott. I'm over it. I'm tired. I'm frustrated. Fair enough. Just say that. Fair enough. Let's just get Cooper Rush up in here, man. All right, let's get a couple more callers. Let's get to some regulars now. I think we got the guy we really wanted. Keystone. Tell me why Dak Prescott sucks, man, and we need to get rid of him and move forward with Cooper Rush.
No, not at all. You know Keystone ain't having that. No, sir. 717, we here. What it do, man?
What's good, bro?
Speaking of Dak, but most of these fans don't realize is when John Kitna was the quarterback coach, was or was not Dak a different quarterback?
Yeah, I believe he 100% was. And there's enough evidence to attest to the importance of John Kitna and the discourse that was between Kitna and Kellen Moore and why he's not here.
Exactly. And I was looking into that because I was like, is it just me, or that game against the Niners, Dak was looking like he was back in his second year. He was missing a couple of wide open reads.
I don't think you got to go that. I don't think you got to go that far back. He was looking like the San Fran game last year. And the T.Y. Hilton one, I agree with what Kurt Warner said there. That T.Y. Hilton one wasn't a missed read. He went to where he was supposed to go based off of the blitz. You know, a lot of us armchair quarterbacks are going to say T.Y. Hilton wide open, but you can't look at the blitz coming at you and say, all right, I'm going to scan left and then hit T.Y. Hilton. By that time, he's getting rocked. He doesn't have enough time to do that. So they teach you to throw into the blitz, and he did, and he put it on the money, you know, but Lamb just didn't catch it. But it looks like, well, T.Y. was wide open. Well, yeah, the read dictated him to go to CD Lamb right now because you had a blitz in your face. But that for those who want to watch that play, go watch Kurt Warner break it down. I'm no quarterback guru. He explains it much better than me.
Yeah, because the quarterback coach we got right now, I'm not feeling him. I was saying to myself, if we was to bring back Skip Pete as a running back coach, should we give John a call and see if we can bring him back too?
100%. I'm giving John Kitna a call. But if Kellen's here, I don't think that's going to happen.
That's going to work. See what I'm saying? And that's where it falls under the Joneses. When you lose your best quarterback coach you had in a while for Kellen Moore, and it got the media back looking at Dak Prescott being, you know, overrated, overpaid. Listen, it's not Dak's fault that the quarterback market went up. So y'all make me sick with this Dak overpaid mess.
Yeah, the money.
But I will blame. Yeah. But on that note, I'm saying to myself, yeah, he could have had the Cousins deal before Carson Wentz reset the quarterback market. I get that note too. But I'm just saying to myself, it's a couple of things that I'm looking at. And the wide receiver coach, I mean, why is he still there? Should he go too? Because he ain't made no progression when your wide receiver core was one of the worst in the league throughout the season in separation.
Yeah, Prince is new. He's a new guy here. I don't know, man. Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, those dudes ain't separation guys. I listen. Nobody wants to bring this up, but the front office admitted to you that we messed up. The difference is right. The difference is, and shout out to my brother. I was talking to him about this yesterday. In 2018, when the franchise realized, oh snap, we messed up, they were able to fix it. They were able to go out and they got Amari Cooper, right? In 2022, they realized, oh snap, we messed up. And they tried to go out and get a Cooks, but they didn't want to bite the bullet. They tried to go out and get a Jerry Jeudy. They took Odell Beckham to prom, and that didn't work out. And then they settled on T.Y. Hilton. So they realized, like, we actually do need another guy, another one of them guys in this particular offense, that we're not just going to be able to settle on Michael Gallup on one leg and Noah Brown. So they admitted that they messed up. They just weren't able to correct their mess up. You know what I'm saying? But nobody really thinks about that.
And I agree on that. Yeah, but, I'm going to keep it short because I know there's other callers, that want to get their time to shine. Well, for what it's worth, thank you, Sky, and I will be hollering back, you know what I mean? Because, my time is now, and that's the draft.
Trust me, I'm going to be – I got you – I already got you put in my little catalog of if Keystone drop a damn player or if he drop an article or something, I got to write that down, man, because you be all over the sleepers.
Oh, most definitely. Love is love, man. PA all day. You know what time it is. I love you, man.
Appreciate you, bro. Much love. Peace. 707 in the building. Yeah, Greg, that's basically what they did. Shout out to Mr. Birdie. That was fun. I ain't gonna. It might not be fun to y'all, but I appreciate him getting his little frustrations out, and we were able to talk. Hey, my bro in the building. We were just talking about that yesterday. Man. They were able to correct their mistake in 2018. They weren't able to do it in 2022, which leads me to believe that they're going to try to do that in the offseason. And I get Mr. Bernie and many others who I continue to see this, but listen, I don't know what other people are saying outside of here, but here have constantly said you're scoring these points not because Noah Brown is spectacular or Michael Gallup is spectacular or Dalton Schultz is spectacular. You're scoring them because your goddamn quarterback is really damn good. You can say two things at once. Yeah, we scored 40 points. But it wasn't because of Michael Gallup and Noah Brown and Dalton Schultz and T.Y. Hilton being 40 years old. And, it wasn't because of that. I want to get to a point where either A, you're going to have a ridiculous group of guys. So under this Kellen Moore scheme that they can overcome that particular scheme. Or B, I got a scheme that if I don't have those guys, which you look at the quarterbacks in the NFC Championship and AFC Championship, they got guys. But if you don't have those guys, we can out-scheme that on certain days where we need to. And we just weren't able to on Sunday, and the quarterback wasn't able to rise up. I don't think we gotta understand. No one is saying Dak Prescott played great in that game. He played terrible. He is one of the main reasons you didn't win that game. See, last year was different. Last year, I think there was more multitude of reasons. I think this year you could put Dak Prescott at the top. I don't have a problem saying that at all. None. I was just looking for solutions to if you get rid of him, what do you want to do? Now what, right? Now what? I knew this was going to be a crazy show. There's no way I'm getting through everybody. I apologize. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try to get through a couple more. I don't know none of these numbers, so see what y'all guys say. Got a 901.
What's going on with this guy?
What's up, man?
You got it, man. I think you got two different types of fans, man. You got one with logic and you got one with emotion. And you've been dealing with a lot of ones with emotion. and it's funny.
It's and listen, I'm the type of fan I'm a type of content creator that tries to understand the emotion part of it. But
right.
I also try to, let's peel back the emotion real quick because I get emotional too, right? And I gotta come over here and I gotta try to remove my emotions and try to figure out, a logical way or provide context. And it's not that easy, but yeah.
Exactly, man. I feel you on that. But to your question about the trading Dak part, I go with the first gentleman with going with the Carolina Panthers. Yeah, that'll be cool. And I'll add to that. If you did, if you want to stay relevant, you can go with Carr. But my suggestion would be go with the West Coast offense. Because if you think about it, the last 4 teams that's remaining right now in the playoffs is West Coast. That system is quarterback friendly. It's very known.
Yeah, it's some variations. Yeah, you're absolutely correct.
And like I said, when you just really think about it, even Shannon Sharp made that statement a while back when he first signed Mike McCarthy. He said the offense is perfect for that. It's West Coast friendly. It's going to be the exact same thing every time out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you think about that in that sense. But that would be my option if you got to trade Dak and go that way. Now, what I really want to say in reality is I always ask people this question. Can you give me a 1,000-yard rusher up under Scott Linehan when he was in Detroit? I just want to get any other fans do that. Can you tell me a 1,000-yard rusher?
I don't believe he had. I don't believe he was a running coordinator in Detroit. Put it that way.
Exactly. That's my whole point. And if he did have one, it was probably Reggie Bush, but I think that was after him.
That was definitely after him.
I would exactly. So I would say this right here is this simple. When Zeke first came into the league and when Dak first came into the league, people might not understand. Our true offensive coordinator was Bill Callahan. So we was running the variation of West Coast running scheme.
Oh, Callahan's scheme was fantastic for sure.
Correct. And Linehan was the offense, but he was the passing coordinator.
He actually wasn't.
And so, but Callahan, he was the overseer, so he decided whether we gonna run the ball first or not. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, in that sense, when Callahan left, if you think about it, look at Cleveland. When he went to Cleveland, you don't think it's ironically that they've been number 2 rushing team in the NFL for the last couple of years?
It's definitely not a coincidence. Bill Callahan's scheme is renowned across the league. He's one of the most respected offensive line coaches and run scheme coordinators in the league. Period. Yeah.
Exactly. And where his son at in Cincinnati? You see what I'm and the thing is that people they talk about Zeke in that standpoint, where people don't fail to realize ever since Callahan left, our actually running game has died since then. It's been the same thing.
Well,
it's completely died.
So I think Callahan leaving, obviously, you lost one of the better guys. But
Correct.
We did have successful running offenses under Scott Linehan, and I think that was because Scott Linehan was a guy who understood the assignment. And I did back in my days when I was doing what do you call them? What do you call it? SoundCloud. I was doing SoundCloud podcasts, my guy. I was driving back from Pittsburgh. I pulled out my phone and I had a lot on my mind. I start recording, and I said, I think Scott Linehan's time is obviously up. I think it was after the 2018 season. But I said, Scott Linehan also did something I want to give him credit for. When he lost Tony Romo in 2016, and he had to go with Dak Prescott in what was in like 3-week notice, he had to change up his offense. And instead of it being tailor-made to a 13-year pro or whatever it was at the time, he had to tailor-make it for a rookie. And he did that by leaning on the ground and then obviously using Dak's legs. And you look at 2016, 2017, 2018, we were one of the top rushing teams. So he ran the ball, Scott Linehan did. I thought he also had good screen offense. And, I think Scott was not terrible with the Cowboys. His time just ran up. The league passed him.
I agree. I agree with you on that. I was speaking more of when he left. You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean when our running game died. It's after Scott Linehan has left.
After Scott, yeah. But you were saying Bill, and I'm like, we had something after Scott. Or we had something.
No. We were
still,
we were still good because them 3 years, we were still good.
Right.
And I was speaking more when Scott Linehan left. That's when our running game died. That's when we started to switch over, and our offense it was already somewhat predictable when it came to the passing game, and when it came to the running game, we was predictable. It's like people say Zeke is washed. Okay, that's cool, but I don't think most fans actually paying attention. When Zeke is in the game, Zeke is running against an 8-9 man box every single time. It doesn't matter if we in a 3-wide receiver set. It don't matter. They are going to put 8 in the box regardless.
It used to be that way, but
you don't think so? It's like that now?
Nah, because statistically, Tony Pollard faced more loaded boxes than Zeke did this year. Statistically,
okay.
But
I respect that.
But here's the problem. Last year, what happened was teams figured out, y'all can't block a light box. So there was no need to crowd the line of scrimmage all the time. So if you couldn't run against a light box and you couldn't throw against 7 or 8 guys, and it becomes hard, right? So teams realize that. That's where the whole quote unquote blueprint thing came out, and the Cowboys offense struggled. And I thought we made some improvements against the blueprint, but I don't think consistently, and we kind of stayed within those improvements, in my opinion. But
so would that fall back on scheme, like running scheme wise?
We have one of the worst run schemes in the NFL. I could stand on that.
Agree.
We do not. I don't even know if we can say we have a running scheme.
Hey, I totally agree with you on that. I can't even argue with you on that. But that's my whole thing about it all, man. I tell anybody, man. If you look at the top teams, they all run West Coast scheme. Is you can just look at the philosophy that they use. 1, 2, 3 step, it's gone, and that's how Joe Burrow was able to overcome.
Yeah, and Joe is a phenomenal quarterback, very very good at making decisions, smart. Joe is different, right? I think Joe is one of them ones, right? And I'm not going to sit here and say Dak is one of the ones. I don't think he is. I've never came on here and screamed Dak Prescott best quarterback in the league. The most I might have went is that Dak Prescott is playing like a top 5 quarterback right now. But I've always said he's a top 10 quarterback. But even top 10 quarterbacks need help. You know what I mean? And not just talent help. My bad, brother. Not just talent help.
No, you're cool.
But from a coaching standpoint, I don't think you can argue this. I don't think you know. And let's just go beyond Dak Prescott, right? Let's just talk about organizationally. From an organizational standpoint, you've got guys like Shanahan, Reed, Dable, Steichen, McVay, Taylor. Like, you got all these guys, right? And then you got Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan, Kellen Moore.
You see how your voice changed?
I'm just saying.
That's the truth.
And this predates Dak Prescott. Dak just happens to be the quarterback right now.
That is so very true. He's just in the mix of it. I ride with Dak. I ride with Tony Romo. I always believed Tony Romo would have took us to the Super Bowl if we was out of that scheme. I never liked that scheme. That scheme has been old-fashioned since Ray Lewis said it. Ray Lewis said it when
they closed down the old stadium. Yeah.
Exactly.
Ain't nothing changed.
If people not paying attention to that lets you know our entire scheme it's been outdated for the last 13, 14 years.
It's been a while, man. It's been a very, very long time. The league has moved forward. And Kellen tried to bring in his razzle dazzle and whatnot. His no identity offense, but from a passing game standpoint, it was not creative at all. It did nothing, in my opinion, to put pressure on the defense until he literally schemed it that way. The pressure, and I say this all the time when I talk to Will Greer and I asked him, I said, what are the challenges about this offensive system for the quarterback? Is it complex? He said, man, it's extremely complex because of the pressure it puts on you at the line of scrimmage and after the snap. He said, but we're lucky to have a guy like Dak that's been a veteran in the league, and we can kind of ask him about the system. But he was very adamant that, bro, this is not some run of the mill offense that is tailor made for a quarterback to be easy. Whereas you look on the other side of the ball, you got a third string quarterback that literally can just jump right in and look like a Pro Bowler.
That is so very true. And to speak on what you said about John Kickman, like, people don't understand, like watching Kurt Warner, he basically pretty much broke it down and said he was like, sometimes when Dak come out, he already looking the wrong way. Like, he looking at the advantage of the defensive side of it versus the advantage of the offensive side. And the thing about that is that comes from quarterback coaching, because Dak can only do what the coach tells him to do. So the coach telling them this is where you start your progression is
right.
And so, but
the
progression is not.
Fantastic,
go ahead.
Fantastic point. And that's where I have the whole. If you've been listening to my show, you need to have a little bit of in his system, right?
that is so very true.
The little bit of, hey man, this progression. CeeDee Lamb's over here.
Exactly.
I don't care about your progression.
Hey, I totally agree. I give you an example. The 49ers pass game.
Yeah.
When we had 45 seconds left. It's the first play of the last drive. We went comeback route. We went 4-yard comeback route, and that's when the linebacker almost picked it off.
Oh my God,
first play,
bro! Dre
What was they
Greenlaw.
gonna do? What was that play gonna do?
That play was stupid as hell. But Dre Greenlaw, I swear, bro, he knew exactly what was coming before the damn ball was even snapped. It wasn't even snapped.
Exactly.
You know, and Dak was hey man, it's what we call, it's not necessarily mirror routes, but it was all curls, right? All hooks, whatever you want to call it. And they were all about 5 yards. They were all about 5. It wasn't even like they were deep. They were all like 5 yards. And that's a situation where if they're all running hooks, I'm telling y'all, you can't go, I don't want this hook. I'm gonna come to this hook all the way on the left. That's pick six city waiting to happen. So Dre if this tight end come off the line of scrimmage and he ain't hauling ass down the line, he's running a button hook, and I'm just gonna break on it. And he almost had a pick damn six. I mean, that was ridiculous.
You can't get mad. You have to laugh at it. Because this is like you have to laugh at it. You can't get mad at that, right? It's just pure. The play calling just sucks at times. It's inconsistent at times. And you just have to accept it. It's just all what it is.
Hey,
Stop
man.
getting mad, Cowboy Nation. Cowboy fans. Stop getting mad.
Bro, fantastic
it's all
call.
understanding football.
I appreciate the call, good brother. I didn't even realize how long I was on here with you. Please do call in again.
Hey, most definitely, man. Appreciate this guy.
Yeah, good stuff there. Good stuff. There's a lot I might have to actually go back and listen. There's a lot there, man, that to take into account. Oh, I know what I was thinking about. So we're going to go ahead and end the show here in a quick second, but tomorrow, should I say, okay, we talked about how to get rid of Dak and what happens to get rid of Dak. Now, how do we go and help him and this team and this offense and this defense or whatever you want to call it elevate? Nah, that's too much. That's too much. We'll save that for next week or another time or what have you. But I think that is a conversation I would like to hear that side. When I say that side, I mean this side today. Why? We know you don't like him. We know you want to get rid of him. But that's probably not going to happen. So how do you get better? There's so many levels to this that I can just pull out to have some fun with. We probably won't hit it. But at the end of the day, when we're talking about the Cowboys doing something as drastic as getting rid of Dak Prescott and trading up and doing this and trading this and doing that, you're asking the Cowboys to do something that they historically do not do. I'm asking them to do the same thing. Think about it. You're asking them to do something that 9 times out of 10, probably 10 out of 10, results in you being bad, you not winning a Super Bowl for a good period, right? To hope that we find a Joe Burrow, a Patrick Mahomes at some point. I'm asking them to do something that they are not accustomed to doing that will actually increase your chances of winning the Super Bowl in the same time period. That's all I'm asking y'all to see. I get your side of the equation here. You want to get rid of Dak Prescott. You don't believe in him. He's not the guy. But understand who we're dealing with. What you want them to do requires this organization to think differently, to act differently. I'm asking them to think and act differently as well with the top 10 guy that I know requires more help, that I know requires coaching help. But guess what? Whoever the hell this new guy is that's going to come in is going to require what, Cowboys Nation? Coaching, talent, and organizational help. So my job today was to just look at both sides of the equation and understand both sides of the equation. And understand your side. Just understand my side. I want to try to win now. If you want to try to win in 5 to 7 years, that's fair. But I'm ready to just throw it all in, win now, and if it doesn't work out, then let's work on that long-term scheme. But is there a way to have both ways? I think it might be. I think it might be, and I think it might be in the way of drafting a quarterback in the second round of the draft. Now, that's a whole different discussion, maybe that's a discussion we could put a pin in. But I think that's probably where you can kind of settle in the middle, right? Where you can say, okay, look, we're going to quote unquote waste a pick. I hate to use that term, but we're going to use a high pick, second round preferably, on this quarterback, and still use our other picks to build up the rest of the team, and still go out in free agency, still use the trade market, whatever you need to do to elevate this team. But if it doesn't work out, we have our second round pick to try to move forward with. Is that fair enough? Is that fair enough? Man, I gotta take it. I knew this was gonna be one of them ones, man. I knew this was gonna be one of them ones. Appreciate y'all for coming through today. That was a good day. If you enjoyed the show, man, hit the like button. Don't think it was an easy conversation for many to have. I hope that I was able to provide a platform for that to happen. Apologize, couldn't get to everybody on the horn. It just was too much, man. I would be here till noon trying to get through everyone. You guys can call in tomorrow if you want to kind of continue this conversation. I have no problem with trying to continue it. But we'll pick everything back up tomorrow, see what comes through the wave or through the news wire for the Cowboys. And if nothing, well, we'll continue on with our off-season program. All right, we'll continue on with our off-season program. Later, we will continue this conversation and more over on The Volume with my guy Vash Lombardi live. Make sure y'all come through. Please come through. Please come through. It'll be a good one, as it always is. Can't miss shows. And then tonight, Mo will be on for the final show of the week, A to Z Sports Primetime. And let me tell you this. It's going to come a point in time where I'm going to take a nice little break. Not sure when, but I definitely need to take that break so I can get this off season, get together for this off season when it comes to content, mentally, and all that stuff. So I'm not sure when it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be next week or the following week, but I will keep y'all posted on that. And then once we hit the off season, man, it's like a whole nother level of content. Is different versions, it's different variations. And I want to make sure that's top notch. I don't want to just come on here and wing it every day. So I will let y'all know when that break will be. We all need a break at some point, right? And then we get back in the saddle, man. We'll get guests on. We'll have hopefully players. I got one that I'm setting up right now. I think you guys will love this one. He kind of broke out towards the end of the season, and we'll get back into that bag, and that'll be fun to do. All right. With that said,
they ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
That's not what I meant to do, but that's hilarious. It's been a while since I actually pressed that button. All right. But with that said, let me go ahead and hit this button. Absolutely not interviewing Ryan at all. Although, he would be an interesting interview. But no, that's not happening. It's actually one of the breakout players in the playoffs. Setting that up. Setting that one up. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace.